We're always taught that economics is all about money, markets, and prices. But what if I told you the most valuable currency in any system isn't something you can mint or print? What if it's trust? Let's dive into the powerful economics behind that very idea. Just think about that for a second. Before any money changes hands, before a single contract is signed, there's this underlying belief that the other person is going to hold up their end of the bargain. This quote just nails it. It reveals the invisible engine of all commerce. It all starts with trust. Okay, so if trust is so absolutely essential, why is it so often left out of Econ 101? Well, that's the disconnect we're going to unpack first. This gap between the theories on paper and our actual real-world experience. And here it is, the core paradox. Most economic models, right, they're built around money as the main tool for everything. But in our actual lives, whether you're borrowing a power drill from a neighbor or starting a new job, the interaction doesn't begin with a transaction. It begins with trust. Now, let's be clear. Money serves a vital purpose. As societies got bigger and we started interacting with strangers all the time, it became an incredibly useful tool. But that efficiency, well, it came with a hidden cost. And that's what we're going to look at next. This slide lays out a fascinating contrast. On the left, you've got the money economy. It's efficient for sure, but it's pretty impersonal. A payment settles the debt, and poof, the relationship is over. The source calls this relationally thin. I love that phrase. But over on the right, a trust economy is built on continuous relationships, where every single act of giving and taking actually strengthens the whole community. And this, right here, is the crucial point. When we design systems that let us bypass the hard work of building trust, we can actually lose the muscle for it. We start relying on contracts and enforcement instead of accountability and relationships. And over time, that really changes the very fabric of our communities. So what's the alternative? Can we do better? Absolutely. We can actually design systems that put trust right back at the center of how we exchange things. A fantastic example is the Community Exchange System, or CES. So the engine of a system like CES is this really cool concept called mutual credit. Instead of money that's backed by a bank or a government, credit is backed by the group's collective promise to one another. Your ability to get something is based entirely on the community's trust that you'll give something back down the line. This totally flips the script on responsibility. Instead of relying on some far-off institution to enforce the rules, the system makes trust a practical, daily activity. It's not just a feeling you have, it's something you actively do with your neighbors. One of the biggest challenges in any community is when acts of giving and helping become invisible. It can lead to burnout and even resentment. So let's look at how mutual credit systems solve this by making that flow of give and take totally transparent to everyone involved. Okay, think about your normal bank account. A negative balance is a bad thing, right? It means debt and it carries this heavy stigma. But in a mutual credit system, balances are just information. They're signals to the community that invite a response, not a judgment that assigns blame. And this just illustrates that shift in perspective so brilliantly. A negative balance doesn't mean you're in trouble. It means the community has extended you trust, confident you'll contribute later. And a positive balance isn't wealth to be hoarded, it's a visible record of your contributions, showing that the community owes you one. It completely reframes our entire idea of debt and credit. All of this really points to one central argument. Trust is not just some social lubricant that's nice to have. No, it's a critical, non-negotiable asset for any healthy, resilient system. I absolutely love this analogy, trust as infrastructure. Just like roads and bridges allow goods to move around efficiently, trust allows ideas, favors, and support to flow with almost no friction. It's the invisible foundation that makes everything else possible. And when that infrastructure crumbles, everything becomes more expensive. And I'm not just talking about money, but time and energy too. We have to spend our resources on monitoring people, on expensive enforcement, on protecting ourselves, instead of on collaborating and creating new things. Progress just slows to a crawl. But when trust is strong, the complete opposite happens. Cooperation becomes faster, easier. You don't need a million little rules for every single thing. And yeah, when conflicts do pop up, because they always do, the community can recover so much more quickly. It becomes more agile, more resilient. These systems also completely flip the script on exchange. Instead of starting by asking, what can I get out of this? The whole process begins with an offer. Here's what I can contribute. You trust that the value will come back to you through the network. And with every single transaction, the entire system gets stronger. So really, you can think of a system like CES as a kind of social technology. It's a tool that's been designed specifically to amplify the behaviors that build trust. It makes contributions visible, creates accountability without being punitive, and it allows reciprocity to happen over time, strengthening the community with every single interaction. And that brings us to our final powerful takeaway. Trust isn't some fuzzy, feel-good concept. It is the hard, practical bedrock of any relationship, any community, or any economy that is actually built to last. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. We spend so much time and energy designing systems for efficiency, for profit, for growth, but what if we started designing for trust? What would our neighborhoods, our businesses, and maybe even our entire society look like then? It's a pretty powerful idea to consider.